Good evening. I wasn't expecting the music. That's why if I had a little bit of a shocked look, that's why. My name is Paul Maurer. I serve as president of Montreat College. And are you having a good evening? I'm pretty certain it was my wife that was responsible for not having the rubber chicken. So thank you, Joellen, that we actually had a nice meal. In the next few minutes, I'm going to do three quick things. One is I'm going to give a very quick kind of state of the union of the college. Two is I'm going to make an announcement. And three, I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker. So we have a lot of new friends in the house tonight. We're delighted to have those of you who may not know a lot about Montreat College. We've got a lot of long-term friends in the house. And those of you who are new, you're going to learn very quickly that I always start these sorts of comments by talking about the vision. Because everything we do starts with a vision, everything. We wake up in the morning, we go to bed at night, and we spend the day trying to make progress toward a vision. So what's the vision? The vision is for Montreat College to become the premier Christ-centered university of the Southeast United States. We aspire to be the school of choice for thoughtful evangelical families, families of faith, who care about the further trajectory of their sons and daughters that they've cared for so carefully between K through 12, and realize that there's some real challenges in most of American higher education in terms of sending your sons and daughters to those places and trusting them to help those sons and daughters continue on that trajectory of a healthy life and a moral compass and a healthy campus culture. And so we want to be thought of as the number one choice throughout the Southeast United States for those things, for a great, rigorous academic program, for a healthy campus culture, for a place that teaches the meaning of life, for a place that comes alongside students, that they don't fall through the cracks, and that they can study and learn and deliberate and learn critical thinking. And so we do this. Our goal to getting there really has three pillars. It's relatively simple. One, we're Christ-centered. We are rooted in a true, historic, biblical orthodoxy. It's how we hire. We hire every single employee to that. There are no exceptions. I interview everyone who comes through, all candidates for full-time positions. And early on when I started doing that, 9 years ago now, they began to call it the Maurer Hour. I wear it as a badge of honor. And so we believe, as a Christ-centered institution, that there's a right and wrong, that there's objective truth, that there's actually a moral compass, and that perhaps as important as any of those is we believe that the students who are entrusted to us have a purpose in life. These qualities are not present in most of American higher education, but they are at Montreat College. Secondly, we teach to the liberal arts. That's a really misunderstood term, and all it means is we teach through a curriculum where we teach students to read deeply, to write clearly, to think analytically, critically, creatively, to argue persuasively, and to work cooperatively. That's all the liberal arts means. We teach to the liberal arts competencies, and guess what? Every employer wants that, right? They want a student who can think clearly, who can write persuasively, who can work cooperatively, and by the way, who also has a foundation of character, a moral compass. So you've got the Christ-centered combined with the liberal arts, and if that's not practical, I don't know what is. Every employer pines for those sorts of college students coming out that they can hire. And third, we recognize that it's a STEM economy: science, technology, engineering, math. And where we have focused in these last years is on the S and the T of STEM, the science and technology. And so these are the basics. I was on a radio interview just yesterday, and it was a kind of a compare and contrast of big state universities and what we're doing. And I said, honestly, he said, what's the secret sauce? And I said, I don't think there's a particularly complicated secret sauce. We're doing the fundamentals. We're sticking to the basics. And the basics is that American higher education, which is almost 400 years old now, has walked away from the fundamentals. They have left us. We have not changed. If you remember, Ronald Reagan said, when he switched from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party, he said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party, it left me. And so what we do is what American higher education used to all do. We're almost 400 years old. Harvard was founded in 1636, and for 250 years, virtually every college was like Montreat College. Faith-based, moral compass, shaping student souls. That was the mission. They have walked away. We have held fast, and we're growing. We consider ourselves, though, not an old fogey kind of in the space. We actually think of ourselves as a startup, a 107-year-old startup. And what that means is we're trying to create something new, something that Montreat College has never been before for the families of the entire Southeast United States. Well, being a startup means that we embrace change, we remain agile, we make decisions with both deliberation and speed, we feed what works and starve what doesn't, we're externally facing, we take risk, and we invest heavily in growth. That's the hallmark of how we operate. We don't lumber along, we make a decision to move. And what's happened over these years is we've seen the market respond. So our traditional undergrad enrollment has grown 71% in the last 8 years. We've continued to grow in our Great Books, Big Questions honors program. That's core liberal arts. It's like graduate level seminar classes where you read some book out of the canon of the great books of the last 2,500 years. And it's not just Western Civ, it's World Civ. And then you talk about it. You read, you come prepared, and you dialogue. And that's what our honors program has done. We've gone from 0 to over 100 students in our honors program. If you're in the honors program as a student here, raise your hand. If you haven't taken time to talk to one, you ought to. You've missed something. We've also continued to grow in our cybersecurity program. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Our online, our undergrad and master's programs, we have seen growth there as well, 25% growth in the last 3 years with our purely online programs. A lot of that's driven by the new master's programs that we have launched. We have now 10 master's programs. 9 of them are 100% online. The national trend in online education and in adult and master's education is that graduate programs grow and the undergraduate degree completion programs are in decline. We're seeing that, but the masters are growing faster than the undergrad is declining, and so we've grown 25% in the last 3 years. We hope and pray and somewhat expect that those numbers will continue to rise, perhaps even at a steeper level. If you know anything about us, you know that we're best known these days for our program in cybersecurity. We've just completing our 10th year of teaching cybersecurity at the college. We're a center of academic excellence as designated by the National Security Agency. We gained that designation in 2017, the first faith-based college in America with that designation, one of the few liberal arts colleges anywhere in the country today with that designation. Most cyber programs are the domain of big state universities, and so it's really unusual for a small college to have that. But what we've done, what we do, and how we think about it has actually really caught the attention of a lot of people, including the National Security Agency. And it's because our value proposition in cyber is so different than pretty much everyone else. And our value proposition goes something like this. The problem with cybersecurity is not principally a technical problem. It is principally a human problem. And therefore, the solution to cybersecurity is not principally a technical solution. AI won't solve the problem. The only way to really solve the problem is to have people with the right character and ethics as your cyber leaders and operators. And we tested that value proposition across the country We actually went up into Seattle a few years ago, and we pulled together some very, very high-level tech leaders. And I was blown away that by the end of that meeting, off the record, invitation only, very, very high-level leaders in name companies that you would recognize very easily, overtly agreed with our value proposition. And we knew we had something, we knew we had the value proposition, and we knew we had something very unique. And so the NSA has asked Montreat College to write a book on cybersecurity ethics. My co-author is our keynote speaker tonight, and we're going to talk about that book and the process, and we're going to give you a peek inside of that. Our bachelor's in cyber is our #2 largest major now at the college after business econ. We have also founded the Carolina Cyber Center 3 years ago. They have a non-degree granting academy. They had 150 students come through that last year. So we're at about 300 students in cyber last year. We started with 8 in 2014 and 15. We have a security operations center that's just opened up. We're hiring our best and brightest students and young alums to be the employees to do cyber assessments and to, we'll eventually, in the next few months, actually move into 24/7 monitoring of small and mid-sized business networks. And so if you're looking for a place that can monitor your business network, Carolina Cyber Center is something you ought to check out. We also co-founded the Carolina Cyber Center, Montreat College co-founded with Fayetteville Technical Community College, what's called the Carolina Cyber Network. So we're the Western hub, Fayetteville Tech is the Eastern hub, and there are 12 schools that have come into that network. They've applied, they have to meet certain criteria, and we are helping them stand up cybersecurity workforce development programs funded by the state of North Carolina. We've been receiving a lot of money from the state of North Carolina because what we're doing is in their interest. We're serving the common good by helping close the workforce delta in cybersecurity in the state of North Carolina. Finally, in some big cyber news, it's going to sound really vague, because it is. I can't speak to the specifics at this point under the direction of our federal partners, but I'm pleased to inform you that coming out of recent meetings in Washington, D.C., Montreat College, the Carolina Cyber Center, and the Carolina Cyber Network, all three, are currently engaged with a number of very strategic efforts at the highest levels of the United States government. These efforts will have a profound downstream implications for the cybersecurity industry and for the future direction of our national security posture in digital domain. Bottom line, Montreat College is at the table. It's very encouraging. It's a little surreal, but 10 years in, we're not a rookie. We're not fresh out of the gate. We're now emerging as one of the leaders in the nation in cybersecurity education. We just finished some 3-year budget projections as a team. We'll be bringing those to the board. We have a board meeting tomorrow here. And the 3-year projections are basically the following. We expect more growth, we expect more innovation, and we expect more leadership. Our future is bright, and we are grateful to you for supporting the trajectory we've been on. We would ask for your continued support as we continue on. The second thing I'm going to do tonight is make an announcement. I'm announcing that we have launched a new initiative to expand Montreat College's role as a thought leader. This is in our strategic plan to grow in that space. It's called the Montreat College Fellows Program. Its aim is to bring influential Christian thinkers into our network as intellectual brand ambassadors and resource persons for the college. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce that our first senior fellow is Dr. Todd Von Helms, who is with us this evening. Todd, if you would stand, he's in the back of the room. Dr. Von Helms is a theologian and church historian. He is author of the book Before You Leave for College, Career, and Eternity. And in his book, he draws from over 2 decades of insight gained working as a minister, as a professor, and a consultant. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Todd Von Helms. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Ed Scotus. Without exaggeration, Ed Scotus is one of the most accomplished and experienced cybersecurity professionals in the United States. He is what is known in cybersecurity circles as an ethical hacker. He is one of the best. Ed is the president of the SANS Institute, a private U.S. college that specializes in information security and offers premier cybersecurity training, including career-focused undergraduate, certificate, and graduate programs. Ed is also the SANS Institute Fellow and Director of their Cyber Ranges. The ranges he and his team create have enabled more than 40,000 cybersecurity professionals to learn advanced techniques in penetration testing, incident response, and cybersecurity defense. Ed is also the founder and CEO of CounterHack, the cybersecurity business he runs. He has appeared as a cybersecurity expert on the PBS series Nova, and he is a consultant analyst of various federal agencies working on the most large-scale cyber breaches in the United States. In fact, Ed has been an analyst on virtually every major breach that has taken place in the United States over the past 2 decades. He earned his bachelor's or his undergraduate degree in electrical engineering from the University of Michigan, his master's in information networking from Carnegie Mellon. He is also my co-author of The Code of Honor. That's our working title. The publisher will probably change that. A cybersecurity ethics book requested and funded by the National Security Agency, the federal agency responsible for our nation's protection. Yesterday afternoon, think about timing, yesterday afternoon, Ed was a keynote speaker at the RSA conference in San Francisco, attended this year by 38,000 people. So you were keynoting in front of maybe up to 30,000 people, live and online. In order to get here, Ed took the red eye from San Francisco to New Jersey and then to Charlotte. Please help me welcome and to keep awake, Ed Scotus.